Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Solar Factory. At the end of the last episode I mentioned I was going to rebuild the electromagnetic control rod setup, which is what's in front of us. This is another one of those builds that just got really big, spread out really widely, and now with the redesign of the swamp area with these weird things popping up through it, I need to rebuild this area to make it more in line with what the rest of the factories are like, and also to get it out of the way of the bits and pieces that are in there now. So what are we looking at here? Okay, let's go left to right. Far left hand side, basically in this section here, it's a series of smelters and constructors making wire from copper ore. Copper ore I think starts somewhere over there. This little section in here is making steel ingots. There is iron ore there, and there's another mine, you can just see it through the trees there. Combined with coal, which comes in via the train into this setup, down a bunch of conveyors and then across into here, making steel ingots. This series of constructors turns us into steel pipes. Those steel pipes are then combined with the wire in this set of assemblers to make stators. They then fit into this set of assemblers. Joining them in that set of assemblers is AL limiters. AL limiters are made from copper sheets. So at the back here we've got a series of smelters making copper ingots, which are then joined with cadmium ingots through a series of foundries. Might be assemblers or foundries, might be assemblers, which is down here. So we've got cadmium all over here, coming up along here, being turned into cadmium ingots there, combined with copper ingots here, makes quick wire. Over here we've got more smelters making copper ingots again, being fed into a series of, I think it's 20 constructors making copper sheet. That is then joined with the quick wire in these set of assemblers to make AL limiters. AL limiters then joined with the stators from that first section to then make our electromagnetic control rods, stators and AL limiters. Let's double check what this is. Yes, this was an assembler over here. So these are assemblers. Cadmium ingots, copper ingots make quick wire. Copper sheets come out of that, join with the quick wire to make AL limiters. There is 10, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 assemblers. Excuse me. The very end one's not getting enough stators, which is intriguing. So that's not an issue at the moment, that's fine. Should be 135 stators being made by this set of assemblers. Assemblers. The first, I think all of them except for the last one are overclocked. If I remember correctly. Yep. So the first 9 are overclocked to 10 each. That makes 90. The very last one is not overclocked, but it's also only meant to be making 8 anyway, because it goes into this series of splitters and joiners, mergers. Ultimately ends up with just 2 going up through this setup, through this big tower of conveyor belts, because that's used in the main factory. The other 9 go up that one, and that's actually what gets droned off to the main the nuclear generation setup. So this is what we've got to completely rebuild. First things first, I'm going to do is I'm going to establish what I've got in terms of incoming resources, what I'm using, and how I'm currently building it, because I sort of can't remember. I sort of know the vague details. I don't know if they're overclocked, underclocked, etc. They look like a lot of them are overclocked. I'm then going to see if there's an option to actually increase production. That would probably also need exploring alternative recipes. So it might be that we might not even build the factory here. We might end up moving it somewhere where we've got other resources, or better resources. The reason why there's a big hole here was prior to update 6, there was a cool looking tree that popped out of there and I wanted to sort of highlight it, but last update they removed it. So that's why it's still got a hole there. So yeah, that's the plan. First thing is just to do an audit of what we've got here and then try and establish if we can make more with what we've got here, make more with just expanding, just replicating this setup, for example, or going down a different path and going alternative recipes, or look at another building this particular setup somewhere else. That back section is all to do with concrete. There's a limestone mine, I think, just on the other side of that, I think it is. This is all just making concrete, nothing really, it just makes concrete, yeah. Stored up in there and that's it. It's just a big concrete setup. I don't even really use it. So next step, audit, and then figure out what we might be able to do with what we've got here. So I'll come back with that. Okay. So the plan has changed a bit. What I've managed to do is I've managed to tweak the setup here a little bit better. I've actually added an extra assembler on this production line to make sort of 4 lots of 3 quick wire now, each one producing collectively between each set of 3 they're producing about 500. That's fed into a pair of these 8. So that through there going to that 2, those 3 going to this 2, etc. all the way down. So that what that has actually ended up being is I've now up to the production here to around that I can now max out. I'm now actually able to max out almost all of these. This one's not quite getting there, but we're basically able to now almost max out. This one's getting up to and getting very close to getting 100%, and likewise with this one. So what that means is that I'm going to actually leave this setup here. So now we've got 150 state has been made a minute with that lot. We're getting 100 AR limiters being made a minute. It's not quite perfect, but it's getting there. And everything else is basically flowing because we've got 150 been made. That's the counter, 150 in the last couple of minutes, 197 of 100. So we're getting there. So, because one of the things I had was that if I was to start dismantling this, even though I'd have a lot of production, I was making 9 out a minute, a bit more than I needed. It wasn't going to last that long before it was going to run out completely in terms of the actual usage in the nuclear generator setup. So by doing what I've done now, I'm basically maintaining the status quo with this setup, and I'm actually going to make this factory in a different location. That different location is going to be, because what we've actually got is we've got iron ore coming in here, making all this wire. We've got copper, my bad. Copper ore coming in there, making that wire. We've got coal and iron ore coming to these set of foundries to make the steel ingots, which go into these to then make the steel pipes for the stators. That combines with the wire to make the stators. So we need about 600. Currently, we need about 600 copper ore there. We've got that covered. We need 600. I think that's actually miscalculating that. Jump down here. So does it need 112.5? I think it's dead on 600 if I recall. Yeah, 675 coal. We're making 600. It's actually more than that because of the way it's coming from that via that train. It's got more than enough. The copper, the ore that's coming in through here, that's probably the bit where it actually is under spec, but it seems to be working. So I've actually got two. I've got 2 of them now. So I've got I'm actually combining, so I just get rid of that. Where is that coal? Where's that iron ore run gone? There it is. So making 720 coming in from 2 miners, so more than enough covered for the iron ore. making the ingots. They're all now maxed out at 250% to make 450 pipes a minute, which is needed for that. So that's all really efficient now. As I said, what I made was a couple of tweaks up here to improve the quick wire setup. So each one of these needs 500 to go into a pair of these, needing 250 each. So 504 each one. So 3, 3, 3, feed into 2, 2, 2. The copper sheets are all coming out properly. And then for making the quick wire, you need copper as well. You just need the ingots. So that's what this set of 12 is doing. That's divided by into, it might even be 4, 2, 4, 6, yes, 12, two sets of 6, feeds one set of 6, and I set another 6 down there of the quick wire production assemblers. So we've actually got 2 pure nodes way up there. So that's copper going up and up and up, and then back in behind that big tree there's 2 pure nodes there. There's another pure node just there doing copper, which is feeding these ones. So I need at least 3 or 4, copper nodes. I need 1 or 2. I need an coal of around 600 or 675, and I need iron ore of the same, and I need cadmium. Cadmium is an interesting one. Cadmium. So the cadmium ingots are over here. So I also need cadmium. Now cadmium, the miner for cadmium is just through there. And that's producing 600. I think that's its maximum too. And that's going to this set of 5 miners. 5 smelters, sorry, which is making the ingots, which has been fed into the assemblers on there. So that's also what I need. Now I've got all that in the desert. And that's where I think I'm going to move this particular factory to there, and probably, if I can, up its production to be above what this one's doing, and then ultimately dismantle this section. So let's go to the desert. So go to the drone port now. This is the new desert drone port. So that's the computers there, heavy modular frames there. So let's just sit on top of here. Bring up the map. So with that radar tower, I can now see all the resource nodes in here. So pure copper, pure copper, pure copper, pure copper. So we've actually got 4 pure copper. Sorry, that's iron ore. Sorry, so copper, copper, and copper. We've got iron ore there. We've got cadmium there. We've got coal there. We've got more iron ore there, and we've got more copper there. So everything's here that I need. I've got a drone port sitting here, so I'm going to build this factory basically there. I'm going to bring all of the, like I've done with this setup, I'm going to bring all of the various resources into one sort of entry point into the main factory along a multiple. So I'm going to have copper there, there's copper there, I think there's another copper, I think it's just copper. So the other copper is there, so copper there, there, and there. Bring that all together. This cadmium is just on the other side of from there. Coal is down in that direction. Bring it all into one, and then feed it into the factory, sort of basically along that line there, in a way. And then build the factory, probably where we are, probably where that'll probably be. So from here to the left, and then hopefully get it to line up properly. Then we can just feed it straight into this drone port. We'll put a third drone on the other port on the other side, and then we can have 3 drone ports taking the stuff back from here. So that is the plan to build it roughly in here. I've got to do a bunch of dismantling first. I've got to put my resource nodes in place. Then I've got to figure out exactly what I can build and if I can actually make more than what I was currently making. So it's going to be a bit weird because um, I'm going to have the copper node there that's going to be mixed in with this other stuff, so I'll have to figure out the pathing of it. But that is the plan at the moment, is to build it roughly in here. It's probably not going to be much smaller in terms of what the other place was, because most of those machines were already overclocked quite a lot. So it's going to be a pretty big factory. Um, so at this stage, not too sure how big it will be. But first thing I got to do, dismantle all of this. Generators gone, power things gone, everything gone from here, and then figure out roughly where I could put the main factory, and then figure out how I'm going to feed into it. Um, so yeah, so I'll probably do another time lapse of me dismantling this setup, and then I'll probably do a time lapse of me building the main footprint of the factory, and try and build in the various um, resource node points and the pathing they're going to take. I don't know what happened with that guy. I might just come back and be all done, but we'll see. Hopefully I won't do that. Alright, dismantle's done. So, so now let's see a bit more of this whole area without that other stuff in the way. Copper through there, cadmium just over through there, and in that sort of general direction. We've got more copper if we need it, we've got iron ore if we need it, and we've got coal. So I don't really want to build over the top of that. So I think we will start this factory. Its sort of bottom right edge, for the want of a better phrase, will be somewhere in there, and it will go out and to the left, up and to the left, in from where I'm perspective here. And I've come up with this. This is a 20 foundation by 15 foundation footprint, initial footprint. It's going to be multiple levels, so that's cool. I'll bring the copper in sort of the top right hand corner of the foundation of the initial of this floor, and the cadmium and coal and iron ore come into the top left. And the miners are in place, and the belt runs are in place. So a little bit convoluted in some parts. So we've got one coming up through there and hanging left. We've got that one coming across there, down and doing a bit of a zigzag, then going to its right, but left as we're looking at it. Long run through there, joins this one, joins that, and then we've got three coming into there. They're all copper. Over here we've actually got 4 miners here. We've gone, if I go up a little bit higher, we can see just through them. There's the cadmium ore miner. We've got iron ore there and 2 coals there. They're joining into one belt run coming all the way through here. That one comes up here, that one joins here, and we've got 3 coming into there. So that gives us the iron ore, the cadmium and the coal we need for the well, the coal we need for, and the iron ore we need for the steel pipes. The cadmium ingots we also then need to combine with the copper ingots to make the quick wire, and we obviously also then need the copper sheets to be combined with the quick wire to make the AL limiters. We then need the copper ore again to make wire to be joined with the steel pipes to then make the stators. They come together, and we've then got our electromagnetic control rods. So next up, I've got to put a plan together as to how many constructors I need, foundries, smelters, that sort of thing. So that'll be up. That's next. So I have a plan. It's needed to be tweaked a bit because as I sat down and tried to figure out how I could try and make the roughly the same amount of electromagnetic control rods as I had at the previous factory, I discovered I need a lot more copper ore. As a result of that, I've now linked in a fourth copper miner way over there. Comes along here, jumps there, essentially joins this one, and then keeps coming through here until we end up with 4 coming in there. So the plan is basically this. So breaking it down to 3 components, sort of 3 phases, 3 stages, however you want to look at it. First bit is just making the AL limiters. The second bit making the stators. Then the AL limiters and the stators come into the last bit, and they make the control rods, the electromagnetic control rods. So this is going to make it a little bit more than the other factory. The other factory is around 100, bit under. This one's going to be about 108, I'm hoping. I'm then going to rebuild the other factory and make it significantly smaller, probably about half the size, if maybe even a bit less, to make it to the total amount of control rods being made is around the 150-ish mark, give or take. Anyhow, so with this build, I need to build a lot of smelters. So we've got 14 to make the copper ingots for the quick wire. We've got another 16 smelters to make the iron copper ingots for the copper sheets required by the AL limiters. We then need 5 smelters for the copper for the cadmium ingots needed by quick wire. We then need, that's basically what that's just, so we need 35 alone just to make the AL limiters. We then need a further 9 to make the copper ingots required by the wire for the stators. So we need 44 smelters. And then actually, in sort of addition to that, we need 8 foundries, which are required to make the steel ingots, which is combining coal and iron ore. So we need 44 smelters, and plus another 8, 8 foundries. So we're looking at building 52 essentially smelters, with foundries kind of being a souped up version of smelters. I'm going to try and fit the 52 of them on this bottom level. Not sure it's going to fit. I'm going to try. Not sure it's actually feasible to do it that way, because I then need to feed in different amounts to the next level of the production. So it might not really work, but that's going to be my initial goal. So hopefully when I come back from that we'll have 55 or whatever the number was, 52 or whatever, foundry smelters on this floor, with some way to make them feed into the next level, which clearly will be the next level above, which will then feed them into the next layer of production for those smelters will feed into. So we'll see how we go. And there's the completed first floor. We've got 4 rows of smelters and a row of foundries. The foundries essentially, they're all line up just on this sort of left, now the bottom edge. All pretty much line up with each other, so it's pretty good. Working through them, right hand side, the 8 foundries that's required for the steel ingots. So you've got coal and iron ore coming in on the 2 outer belts to that one. The inner belt is the cadmium ore coming from there to feed those 5 smelters to make the cadmium ingots. The remaining sets of smelters are all for copper ingots, and all of the belts for that are those collective 4 there. So going from this middle one right underneath us, that is the 9 smelters required to make the copper ingots for the wire for the stators. The next one is 14 smelters, making copper ingots again, of course. This time these are the copper ingots that would go into the assemblers with the quick wire to make with the cadmium ingots to make the quick wire. And the big row of 16 smelters on the left hand side is the copper ingot production required for the copper sheets, which will go in join with the quick wire to make the AL limiters. So got a bit of a gap in that floor. I don't think I'm going to worry about it too much. I may do something with it, I may not. So the next thing will be to put the disc level in place, and have the belts and have the start filling that in, and then I think after that we'll cover up the belt runs from the various miners because they're all set up correctly now, and then we'll probably power them up and have the list the raw ingredients coming in, raw materials coming in, even if I don't actually power up the machines on the first floor. So that'll be next. So over the next time we'll have all these belt covers covered, machines on, and logistics layer in place, and maybe not running them. The machines might not be running, but we'll see. And there is the second floor built. Um, I think this is going to work. Well, proof will be the pudding when we get to the third level. But what we have here, from going from left to right, we've got 2 rows of 12 constructors first up. They are making the copper sheet required for the AL limiters. So they are being fed by the 16 smelters on the first floor. Next up, we have 10 rows of assemblers. Those assemblers are making the quick wire, so they've been fed by a set of smelters from below, and the 2 sets of different sets of smelters below, one making copper, one making cadmium. Next up, we have 2 sets of 9, or 2 rows of 9 constructors. They are making copper. They're making wire from 9 smelters below. And then last, on the right hand side, we have 12 constructors. They are making steel pipes from the steel ingot foundries below on the first floor. So that's the second floor done. I have a plan for the third floor. I think it's going to work in terms of where this stuff's going to feed. Because on the third floor, we just need to make the assemblers making the limiters, assemblers making the stators, and the assemblers making the final electromagnetic control rods. So I think we can do all that on the next level. I think I'll be able to make a cool I'll make something out of it. So there we go. The logistics level is probably going to be an absolute nightmare between the third floor, but that's what they're for, to hide all that kind of stuff. And we'll see how we go. But I might end up tweaking some of this. I may tweak some of the percentages out of the smelters below to make things a bit even. But this is the second floor completed, I believe. Third floor's next. That's got the 3 assemblers lines on it, and then this build's done. We're back to show you that. So you're looking at this completed third floor with a bit of a tweak from my original plan. The original plan was to have all 3 sets of assemblers on this top floor. I've reduced it to just 2. So left hand side we've got a set of 10 assemblers making AL limiters, getting copper sheets and quick wire from below. Right hand side we've got a set of 14 assemblers making stators, they've been fed steel pipe and wire from below. I'm going to feed them into what will now be a 4th floor. So if we come down here, looking at this again, we've got our first floor of just being all smelters. Second floor being combination of constructors and assemblers, and the third floor is all assemblers. With those walls on the corners there, that's going to be the platform for this next level. Build up, and then we'll have on the top floor just the assemblers, 12 in total, making the electromagnetic control rods. They'll then be shipped across to the drone port over here. You can see it's going to sort of tier up as it goes up, so it'll be, so we've got 3 on the other side, then 2, then 3, then on top we'll just have just the assemblers for this bit. So yeah, next up will be the 4th floor with those assemblers on top. And the 4th and final floor is built. It's a little bit not quite as how I'm kind of hoping it would turn out, but I'm happy nonetheless. We've got 6 assemblers either side. the down through here is, so underneath we've got, go to the right hand side. So the right hand side is where the stators come up through here. If I get on my efficiency checker tool and go all included, we've got 168 coming out of the assemblers and needing 162. They go into a middle splitter through there, and they get split into each of the conveyor belt lifters coming up through here. We then have 2 rows of 5 assemblers underneath doing the AL limiters. I've got one row of 5 merging in and going out the sort of the back pad of this thing. I've got the other 5 coming through here, coming along here, and then popping up there, and that goes through that line. The other one goes through that line, and if I do that, we've got 56.25 coming out of those assemblers, requiring 54, and likewise over here. So everything's balanced as if it was probably best I can get it. It's a little bit messy underneath here, but that's kind of what logistics levels are designed to hide. So that's fine. We've got it coming out of this last one, going to a smart splitter by default, going that way, and any overflow will go into here. There should be very little going overflow, so I'm not expecting that to fill up at all. But it's just the standard thing. Oh, I've got a few. And then finally we've got that coming out here, coming under there, coming under there, across here, and then across there. Over here I've built a now 4th drone port here, and what we've actually got ultimately is that comes into there, across there, up there, across there, and I've already got the batteries going to it as well. So that's basically ready. I haven't actually built the drone itself yet, but that's all just once I start getting stuff coming into it, we'll start doing that. And then ultimately we'll put a across like our standard, across like that. And then we normally have a frame on that side. Like so. And likewise all the way along to there. That far enough. It's a really odd thing, if you sort of flip it round, it sort of embeds itself a bit, so I've got to actually get it this end and point it that way. So that we end up with it on the outside of the structure. There we go. And I may or may not put one of those sorts of towers in the middle here to sort of, quote unquote, prop it up, but I may not do that. Not too sure. Anyway. So, now that's built, next level, next part is I've got to get everything powered up. Nothing on these floors are powered, everything's unpowered. So I've got to feed all the power poles and power lines. Get all the power lines fed to those, refed to those miners. And then, after that, turn it on and see if it all works. So I'll come back when I'm about ready to turn it on. Alright, let's go join it up. Alright, so everything basically should have the white lights because they're all powered and overclocked. So they're all, yep. So I'm looking for any red lights on any machine, because that indicates that they're not powered or they don't have the recipe set. Yellow means they don't have the resources, which is fine at the moment. But there's no red ones on this floor, which is good. Just going to remove this and make sure this is all flowing. That's all the copper. Good. That's implying that the machines out here are working. Now let's just do the same in here. So we've got coal, iron ore and cations, so they're all flowing. Good. Let's go to the next floor and just make sure we've got no red ones. That's all good. Yep, nothing missed there, and great timing for an auto save. I'll put in some counters right in front of us here when this auto save stops. Because that is the quick wire, I think. Yes, that's the quick wire. So no red, that's good. Go up to this floor, no red either, which is good. And no red, beautiful, okay. I haven't not missed anything, I've got everything powered, that's cool. So it's going to take a little while for some of the machines to filter down because, so they're not getting enough copper ingots because the manifold method, which is what I'm using here, so manifold, there's a couple of ways you can feed the belts, you can feed machines. One is manifold, which is basically what we're looking at here, where you just essentially have your incoming belts come in and just split off as needed. This one comes in here, splits off here, and then splits. So this first one will be fully probably packed in by now. But as we go further down, you can see that one's not even got anything in the belt because it takes a while for the belt to sort of filter down the way down. That's not too bad. It's getting full, so that's good. These are going to start to get cranking. That'll be backfilled already. Because the first one's getting, so the way the split works is the split is basically split evenly between whatever's connected on an outbound. So the very first one there's only two, and the first one will get 50% going one way and 50% going the other way. So the first one fills in really quickly, but now you've got half the belt, you've got half of it going to the next one, and then it goes down that way. So by the time you get to the very end one, you could have a very situation where it's only getting one every few seconds because of the way the previous ones haven't saturated the belt yet. That's what's happening with this lot, you see. Here we're getting, that's not too bad, that's just slowly going up, so it's now at 8, fluctuating between 8 and 7. Eventually we'll start seeing it fluctuate between 8 and 9. There it goes. As this one is basically now almost saturated. One definitely before it will be. So this one will be saturated, 100 in there. So it just takes a while for the manifold process to go all the way down the entire belt run. You can sort of feed that up by preceding the last ones in the belt, but it's not really a big thing. So if we just hover here for a second, we'll see that we've got lots of them coming up. So let's go up to the next level and see what we're getting. So we're getting 600 coming out of that. If we bring up the efficiency checker hand tool, yep, we wanted 600 out coming out. We needed 546, so 564. So that's going well. Likewise for this one, that's the other side of that. That's looking good. This is the Caterham. This is the one we needed around, yep, 93. That's coming out nicely. So the Caterham is needed coming out at 187, but there's two streams of it. So the other one's on this side. That's the counter. Haven't done one for. Let's just put a counter there and see what that's doing. What do we got here? This is the steel, so that's serving that. That's the other part of the steel, so that needs 378, it's getting 375, that's getting real close. This should be the same requirement, that'll take a little while to calculate, as will that. Going to here, we needed 93.74. We're on 95, looking good. Looking good for the two copper ones, so let's go up to the next level. So the Caterham, so these are the these are the machines doing. Okay, we've got a bit of a problem there, and that quick wire does not. Oh, it is moving slowly, so that's going. So the top level needed 93 and 3. Oh, hello. So the copper ingots are way below. Okay. I should have the input 472.5, deading 468, just 100 short basically on the output, on the actual production though. Other end, we needed the same basically. So we're probably on track to get the on track for the Caterham side of the setup. So this is where I need another counter. This is the other part of this setup. So this is a bit of a concern that these 1, 2, 3, 5 machines are all starting to stack up, where the other 5 are sort of freeing up a lot quicker. Not running 100%, but still, this is a concern that they're already starting to stack up. So again, it takes a while for the manifold to, so that's already saturated. That one's just about saturated. This is getting there, so the last couple will take a little while, but I am concerned about that quick wire not coming into here properly. So that's moving, but it's moving very slowly. Okay, we've got. Okay, is that causing some weird problem? It was. That's not. That's a bit unusual. Okay, that'll make a difference. Should make sure that that's not happening elsewhere. So each of the quick-wire machines is basically fed directly to the next machine above. It took a little bit of jiggling to get it right, but so what have we got here? So we've got. Okay, so the copper sheet is a bit behind, which is why it's not using the quick wire as much as it should be. Let's come up to here and see what we're getting. So okay, so we've got 41 AL limiters coming in. We need 54. So that's a bit of a concern. We've got to get that up. We've got to figure out what's happening there. The stators need to be running at 162. We've got capacity of 168. We're making 123. So there's the other part of the AL limiters. That's at 51. So that's getting there. Yeah, so that's also starting to. So I think things are slowly starting to catch up. Things sort of started to filter down with the manifold setup. This is sort of likely to happen because it just doesn't quite have. So you're running 100%. Let's see what's running 100%. You're running 100. You're running 100 with plenty of stuff in. You are as well, and you are. So they're all saturated incoming. So the copper sheet to this one's under. Likewise to that one. That one's getting a bit better. That one's saturated, but the quick wire is the problem. So the quick wire. So this is the belt run that starts. I think this is the one where the incoming stuff is at this end. So there's the quick wire going in there. We know the quick wire is coming out the right performance. So it's got 225, getting 225. Just put a counter on each one of those. Okay, that's moving. So it's the quick wire in some cases and the copper sheets in others. Alright, let's figure out what's going on with these ones, because you've got everything incoming, you've got a massive backload on that. So the first four, looking at it from this direction, are starting to back up, and that's a problem. Right, what do we got? This is the first one. So you're meant to be doing 225 and you're doing 180, because that's an input problem there. We'll go look at that in a second. This is the other one. You're doing 167. So the first row of 5 is running absolutely perfectly. So let's look at the first row of 5 machines. So these are all the quick wires. So this set of 5, which has been fed from this direction, is all looking good. So it needs 472 and 93, and it's getting 92 and 473. So basically it's on track. The other end is not getting fed properly on the copper sheet side. So why is that not getting the copper sheets it needs? No, not the copper sheets, the copper ingots. Why is it not getting them all? So they're putting out... Oh, needs 4, so it's about 50 short. There's no backlog of belts here. Or is there? I can't see it through the smoke. Go to the other side. Okay, so what have we got here? What's this happening? So in the middle we've got 1, 2, 3 that are starting to... Okay. Not really sure what is going on here. It's slowly getting better. Let's make sure that all these are actually feeding in. And they are. So it's actually... Yeah, so the first... So now it's at to 468, so it actually is starting to crank up. I think the actual reason why is because the Catron was a bit sluggish to get really started, which held these up. So I'm actually going to just grab all this quick wire. I think I've got the... yeah, just going to grab that, because... see if this is actually an actual problem I've actually... Yeah, so now they're starting to essentially clear these belts a little bit better, so that's looking decent. Right, that was a very successful, very pleased with that. 104, target was 108, pretty much spot on. It's just those last couple of assemblers here that are sort of letting the side down, but they'll get there. And as all of that, we will yeah, next bit will be hopefully a fully gussied up building. And that's the final build. So I've gone with a bit of an odd sort of idea with the windows with all those sort of arrow looking things, but I kind of like it. That's the front. I did change one thing between the last video, or the last little bit, was that I have moved the sort of output conveyor belt sort of point coming, rather than coming out from, I think it was out of here, this sort of level, it's now down to the bottom. Just made the whole thing's a bit cleaner to look at, from the front at least. So yeah, I made that change. I had to also make the top level 8 foundations high in order to fit in an awesome sink, because I was actually producing too many of the rods for a moment there, and they were all backing up and the machines weren't running. So for the most part that's sorted now, but yeah, that's what I also have done. Also done this bit on the side as well. I normally wouldn't worry about the side, but I've made a sort of a same sort of design on the side as well, just to get a bit of an idea of, sort of make it easier to look inside of it. We've got lights on each of the edges now. I've also got, we're just going to fly mode to make this easy to move around. So on the back we've got all the access points. So from here you can get to each of the floors by using the various lifts, walkways I've created. Each walkway entrance has a light above it now, so you can see what you're doing. Oh, I've got some holes in the wall still. Let's quickly fix those up. Do that. And make them steel. So yeah, so I'm really happy with that. Everything sort of is sort of very sort of symmetrical and balanced. That's all done. That's all done all the way through to there. All that's done. Slightly retweaked that bit a bit, but that's pretty much done. All the lighting is now done inside, so let me just get down to it. Too far. Down to ground level. So we've now got, on the bottom level, we've just got ceiling lights all the way through, and then front and back wall-mounted lights. On this floor, on the next level up, we've got wall lights on the side, back side, and just the back and the sides, and then obviously ceiling lights throughout the whole thing. And then so you come out this middle one, you go to the middle of the room, to then go to the edge of the room, my bad, to then go up to the next level, the middle. And again, this has actually got wall lights all around, all the side, and ceiling lights throughout the middle. This is the two assembly lines, this is AL limiters, and you've got the stators on that side. And then finally, we come up to here, and we've got the final level, which is just saw ceiling lights only. And this is obviously doing the final step, making that electromagnetic control rods. Goal's 108, we're on 112. That fluctuates a bit up and down based on how the machines are going, but the production is basically as I had planned, so that's all worked out really well. And I do like the look of it. I really like the look of it now. It's sort of a bit different from now. We don't have this sort of cosmetic look to it, and then we do pretty plain, like I've done with that one. But this one I do like, and we'll just zip across here, and then we will just go back up to the top again. And this is probably the best spot to look at it from. And then if we just set the time to just before midnight, it looks like that. I think it does look really good at night as well. So you can really see inside it. You can see what's going on. We've got the light coming through here. It does look really, I think looks really cool on here. So yeah, I am super happy with how this has turned out. As I said, doing this sort of visual look for the buildings is not sort of normal. Well, Normal's not the right term to use, but I know I haven't done it in the past, so it's a bit of an experiment for me. Liked how it turned out, and yeah, I just really like how it turns out. So that's the end of the electromagnetic control rods rebuild. Goal was 108. We're basically spot on. Um, Next build would be to redo the other one of these, which this essentially replaced, but to dramatically reduce its production output. Because at the moment what I've got is I've got at the other end where these all go, which is the where the nuclear generators are, I've had to put in an extra container and an awesome sink to cope with the excess that I'm building production. So I'm making about 108 here, plus 100 at the other factory, and I only need at the moment like around 89 or something. So yeah, there's a lot of excess at the moment. So yeah, the idea is to have about 150 or so in production. So which will give me enough to essentially, if I wanted to, I could double the amount of generators I've got from 48 to 96. Um, if I had that many. So that's the goal ultimately. But yeah, so that's it for this build. Thanks for that hour, joining me on that hour or so journey for that edited 1 hour journey. Looking at this build, super happy how it came out. So yeah, on to the next one.